Life has been crazy, just wanna be okay. How can I pick up the pieces when everything breaks with every day? I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. Everything's changing, just trying to navigate. Oh, I keep on believing I'm gonna find my way with every day. I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my...
Good day to you. What up, Wednesday? I don't know what happened there. My scene just exploded, but it's fine. It's fine because I'm here and I'm here with you. It is What Up Wednesday, and you are the third team. Welcome to our second Wednesday wrap-up of the previous days of action in the World Cup. Lots to talk about. As always, I will get through a few things. I need to find my comments. Yeah, I'm really late, and I do appreciate your patience. Remember, you're not supposed to apologize. You're supposed to thank people for their understanding. That's what you're supposed to do these days. I learned that in assertiveness training because I really need assertiveness training as a woman. Hi. Okay, so just checking out. Let's see. Luke's here and Shane and Scott. Good to see you. Hi, Raju. Good to see you back. Yes. Ben Gunshin getting hit in the face with a deflected drag flick in the Netherlands-Korea game. The word back is that he has a fractured cheekbone. He did fine on the concussion quiz and he's in good spirits, but yes, a big incident. And this is the thing, you know, we can make all the rules we want, but accidents are accidents and they happen, and it's just one of those things. But yes, hopes for a very speedy recovery for Ben, and that he has a gentle trip home when he does get home. I just think of somebody who's injured and then they have to get on a flight or several flights to get home from a foreign place, and just not pretty at all. So Ben, we're thinking of you. And let's see, Stain's here as well. And Aline, let's go. Hi, Kevin. And it's very damp and dreary. Well, we had a blizzard earlier and it's going to go down to -30 in a couple days again. So, you know, you got nothing. You got nothing. I can outweather you every day. Hi, SH. Good to see you. Andrew's here. Andrew, I swear I'm going to get back to you, okay? I'm sorry. I'm just like scrambling. Yes, I was just getting one more clip ready. And by one more clip, it was actually 3 more clips, but it's, you know, whatever. It's fine. Cabernet Sauvignon for Rachel. Good to there. Almost there. Yes, Steve. Yes, very good wishes to him. Yurian. Hi. I should turn on my music because I need to calm down. Yes, many interesting games. Plenty more. I know. I could probably do about 15 shows worth of World Cup clips. And when I go through the games, I'm like, I pull a couple out from each game and then I have to like chuck a few out the back as the next game happens and the next game happens. I'm like, no, that wasn't as important. But my methodology here is that I'm not trying to find the most controversial things. I'm trying to find interesting things and things that we can learn from. And sometimes the calls are very not controversial, but there's something that maybe we haven't seen on a regular basis and it's helpful for us to review it. So that's where I'm getting that. William, good to have you as well. And Maxwell is here, and Kat, and I don't know, Simon. I don't know. I'm really missing you these days. Matt's here. Brian, hey friend. Yes, long time. I hope you got my email back. I did send you an email back, so there you go. And you're going to be there until your local quiz night. Barry, Barry, we have a local quiz night right here. It's called Vote in the YouTube chat poll. And it's very entertaining. But here we go. Here's our topics for today. We're going to talk about danger shots at goal. We are going to talk about aerial interceptions. Again, player management is our third topic. And some sliding players that actually aren't making tackles, which is nice for a change, and some stick interference. And is that, yeah, I think I've got crumbs everywhere on me. Thanks for busting me. I really appreciate that. Look, I didn't finish my toast. It's going to be very not nice by the time we're done this. No training. Hi, Sebastian. Glad you're here. And Graham Pairing. Fantastic. Okay. Before we start, I just wanted to draw your attention to a couple of people who I think are really awesome. The first one being Scott Garrett. I hope I pronounced that right. And if not, I'm a jerk. Scott Garrett, congratulations. You have won. You have won a membership for FHU 3T Green. And by win, I mean you paid for it. So thank you. I really appreciate your support, and I hope you enjoy the clip library. And yes, indeed, that is one of the perks in the $7 newer green tier. If you've been with me since the beginning of time, you might be on a $3 green FHU 3T membership. And that's just, thank you, and occasional watch parties. But if you are on the $7, I've opened up the clip library for you. So Scott, you get access to that. And thank you. I really appreciate your support. And then Mr. Simon Dolby decided that he didn't need another shirt. No, he did not need another umpiring shirt. He needed to join yellow. And what a great life choice that is. So I'm glad you're with us, Simon, and starting to enjoy the watch parties. I can't remember if you popped in today, but there you go. We are we are getting underway and we are rolling in yellow. So there's probably a sting that'll come up. Or maybe Kat will put it in the links. Yes, you win. I like that. That's old school stuff. Okay, let's get to the topics and let's see how I do today. I mean, the first, the warm up timer already screwed up. So who knows what's going to happen? Let's go. Topic number 1, danger shots at goal. Here's our first scenario, and I'd like to hear from you. This is our first poll question. And I've trimmed this up really nicely. What is your call here? Is this a goal? Is this a penalty stroke or a penalty corner? I can't remember what options I put down. And is this a free hit for the defense?
This is going wide. This is going wide.
Now, remember, don't just take Charlie's word for it, okay? I mean, Charlie, he's great and all, but he's not always right. Unlike me, who watches something 20 times, changes their mind, about 14 times in those 20 times, and then comes up with an answer. So, I do understand the pressure that in-time commentators are under. So the idea is, first of all, that we don't allow intentionally raised hits unless they are shots at goal. Now, a shot at goal does not have to actually hit the net. It just has to be directed towards the goal and could be considered to be on target. What is the official definition? Let's go into in here. And I'm going to scroll all the way back to the definitions and see. I got to move my toast. Shot at goal, the action of an attacker. Indeedly doodly, the action of an attacker attempting to score by playing the ball towards the goal from within the circle. So that's a shot at goal. It doesn't actually have to be on goal. But when that shot is wide and presents a danger to a defender, we're going to narrow that perspective a little bit for the sake of safety. So just because it's kind of directed sort of towards the goal, but if it hits a defender, we're going to say that we're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the defender in that case because they have been put in said danger. So here's the replay, and you guys can puzzle that through for a little bit. Let's see if this is actually going to work. I can't tell if it's up on the screen yet or not. And I know why. In the moment, this is a very difficult decision to make because the ball is coming towards you. So one of the reasons that we rely so heavily on our supporting umpire in these situations is because they should have a more central angle on this, and they can see the ball traveling towards the goal instead of the ball sort of flashing across your vision or flashing somewhat towards you in that moment. You are actually seeing, and let's see if that's going to work now. Okay, that kind of works. You're going to be able to see whether that ball's on target. So it's a very crucial role for you to perform. And that's another reason why we take mission critical positioning, so that you aren't, as the supporting umpire, hanging out on the sideline and perhaps very, very high up the pitch, so close towards that attacking 23-meter area, 23-meter line, and you're hanging way out there. You can't help with this shot either. You're not going to have the best angle for it. So this is why this moment I'm prescribing and inviting umpires to try being more interior into the pitch. And especially as that ball is traversing towards the center and over to the far side of the pitch from you as the support, you're going to want to be inside, because that will keep you well in the view of your colleague and it will give you a great view for this. So let's see what you're saying on this one. And let's see. For Raju, the ball's not in the direction of the goal, so it should have been a free hit out. Stain, for you, the question is to what extent the intention to score plays on this level. I mean, and I think that with the definition that we've got as a shot on goal, the attacker is attempting to score, but we don't really, I don't want to get too wrapped up in the notion of intention, because we're still very much looking for the possibility of danger, and we have to look at that carefully. And if they've raised that ball and it's not going to be going on the target, if it does that and it presents a danger to a defender, we're going to take a narrow view, and we're going to call that as dangerous against the attacker. Okay, so we're probably not going to take the intention part, and maybe that was a bit of a red herring and I shouldn't have raised that as part of the question. But we're not looking so much at the intention there as should that defender be expected to have that ball traveling at them at that rate of speed, at that height, all those sort of things. But if they are not, you know, if they are not blocking the goal, as it were. Okay, for Steve, it's a free hit for danger. For SH, it looks like a shot on goal, but likely missing. Would rely on the supporting umpire. Absolutely, SH. That's what we're looking for. For Urian, defender is in a position that could be regarded as creating danger for himself. In this case, I don't think it should apply because the defender is not between the goal and the attacker, and it's a free hit for you. Yeah, and I see what you mean, because the defender is kind of standing almost like a post position, but he is outside for the purposes of the trajectory of that ball, and the angles do matter. Ask a goalkeeper, angles matter, okay? So I'm going to wrap this up in a second, so hopefully you've all voted. Of course, you know what I should really do? I should pull up the poll options so I can, you know. It's fine, you guys. It's totally fine. Okay, there's that. And let's see. 20 votes. Okay, 20 votes is good. So let's go. 2-minute warning. End pull. Okay. Don't worry about that. That's my notes. That's my notes. And you can see right there what I've said. Oh, awesome. There's got to be a better way to do this part, you know? I just don't know what that method would be. There. Hi. What's your call? For 52% of you, you like a goal for this and a free hit defense for 47% with 21 votes. And I can understand that either way. This is one of those calls that on the pitch, you're just going to do the best you can. But it will be important to consult your supporting umpire on this. Malaysia had their referral and they didn't use it. So we didn't get to see many more angles than what we saw on the broadcast. For me, that ball was going wide. And because of that, it's okay if he intentionally raises the ball at a shot and it's going wide. But if it presents danger, that's when we're going to say, no, that's not going to work out for us. So for me, that is a free hit defense. But I can understand. So I hope that makes sense with the principles that are applied there. Because again, I want you to focus on what the result was here. That's not what it's about. It's about us exploring what principles we would apply and how we would get to the best result we possibly can when we are on the pitch. You snuck your vote in after the replay. That's okay. I give you lots of time. So I understand. I do that all the time. Yeah. So did I. I expected a lot of free hit defense, folks. But if you're still concerned about that logic, when I talk about the you know, reading that narrowly and giving preference to the defender on danger there, if you still want to talk about that, please pop into the Discord. And we can talk about that more. And there'll be a sting coming up. But if you go to FHumpires.com/DS, pop in there and we can talk about it a bit more, because I think I could probably do a better job at explaining that. You know, there you go. Luke, the angles presented were not great. As for one angle, you saw it on target, another looked wide. Yep. And yeah, it really matters where you are. And what the umpire had done in that situation was sort of flash up a little bit, because it was probably a safer spot for them to be in. And given what happened to Ben, we're all thinking about safety now all of a sudden. So, and it was only a tiny horn. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with all my scenes, but there you are. So let's look at the next scenario here. So this was in the Belgium-New Zealand game, which was interesting. So same poll options, if you guys want to give it a shot. Do you believe, or similar, is this a penalty stroke, a penalty corner, or a free hit for the defense? Hi, Dane. No. That's not the correct criterion to apply, because that kind of absolute proclamation doesn't take into account the possibilities that defenders are placing themselves in the goal in order to try to stop the goal and therefore creating their own danger. Okay? So you may not like that, but that is the criterion that we apply in our game. Now, that being said, another thing, this is a different scenario, different considerations that apply. And what we have in this situation is a defender who is moving across the circle with their attacker as a marking player. We would look at the distance that the player is away from this shot as well. So you can definitely keep that under consideration. Okay, that is another factor to look at. We also look for that legitimate evasive action instead of the attempt of that player to play the ball and defend the goal. So that's another factor we look at. It's all a very complicated thing. How much traffic was there at the point where this shot was taken? So what were the chances that a defender could have a clear vision of this ball and be able to play it with safety and be able to make a play on the ball? Or was there a lot of traffic and it was difficult to know where the ball was coming and that sort of thing? Is the umpire thinking it's going over the goal? No. No, I don't think I don't think that was a consideration for Ragu at all. Okay, because it probably wasn't. Anyway. G Money Vids, he's more than 5 meters away. So technically has time to move out of the way. So, okay. And it should be a PC for you if the defender is closer than free out. The 5 meter guidance, and it's good to point it out and to talk about it, G Money, but that applies specifically as a rule in the rule book to the first raised flick on a penalty corner. So it's in the penalty corner section and it only applies there. So let me just buzz over to that if I can find it. Okay, so it's in 13 point. I can't see anything because I got little windows that are blocking my screen here. 13.3i. L, close. Look, I can't see, okay? And hopefully this is going to show up. Of course it's not going to show up, but this is the provision that we're looking at here. Okay, if the first shot at goal, oh, wait. No, it's the next provision down, of course. I've been up since 4 a.m., guys. So it's down here. If a defender is within 5 meters of the first shot at goal during the taking of a penalty corner. So that's key there. It's during the taking of a penalty corner. That's where the rule firmly applies. We use it as a guideline, as a one of the yardsticks. Okay, so I want to make sure that, you know, you're right to point it out, G-Money, but it's not the only thing. It's not the only factor that we look at. Okay, so we combine it with a few other things. Now, when I look at it, the penalty stroke mark is 9 meters, is it not? And then the top of the circle is 15 meters. And I think Bone lets this shot go a meter inside. So it's pretty close to being 5 meters anyway, right? So if we're using it as a guidance, we're not going to be super strict about that one. Okay, let's see what the rest of you have to say on this one. You feel it's a PC as a defender is 5 meters away. It's definitely not a stroke. Absolutely. I just have to throw in a little bit of variability there just in case. It's legitimate evasive action for you. There's free hit defense. And that is definitely there. Okay, there definitely is legitimate evasive action. And Luke, the defender takes LEA and it hit him anyway. So that's another LEA. It's not a penalty stroke for Raju either. Lowercase letters are too small. Renumber and re-letter, please. FIH, yeah. Legal convention is for small letters, so I understand that. So there you go. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Hi, new best friend. I'm glad you're here. Oh, and by the way, I usually do this for a new person, so there you go. Martin, what do you got? The defender had time to turn his back on the shot, so he could have got a stick to make a save. Okay. So does that mean that, so how is a defender ever going to take legitimate evasive action? Because if they don't have time to take legitimate evasive action, they can't take legitimate evasive action. But if they do have time, they're supposed to make a save? That logic doesn't logic. I'm just saying. See you soon, Andrew. Surely a meter stick says Jolt. Since we don't use our yards anymore. Yeah. LEA, sorry, Sebastian, it's legitimate evasive action. So that is a term. Am I going to go to the rule book and see what happens again? Am I going to go to the right section? All y'all should be having your rule books out. You should all have it ready, and you should be flipping through stuff as we go through these questions, because you are building your own, you're greasing your own wheels. You're creating those connections, and you're applying this, going through the rules and looking at. So you guys tell me where a legitimate evasive action occurs in the rule book. If you have a PDF, hint, search, Control F or Command F, legitimate. It's not 9 meters. What is it then? If I've got that wrong, I probably do. 9-9 also refers to defenders within 5 meters. That's a great point. Let's see where that is. Okay. And again, we have a narrow application of this. So good of you to point it out, Dane. But this is how you're permitted to raise the ball with a flick or a scoop. Okay, so this isn't about an intentionally raised hit. And we're talking specifically about the raising of a ball on an aerial. So you're absolutely right. It's another place where it's raised, but that doesn't apply in this situation. He's the last defender in front of the goalkeeper. Shouldn't he be expecting a shot at goal? I mean, I think so. But when you watch that, okay, remember, like, watch the whole play develop, and what happens is that he's tracking his attacker who's going across the goal. So it's not like he's just standing there waiting for Bone to come in and shoot. It looks at from this angle, because when we flip and the camera moves to him, it looks like he's been there all day. And that's the deceptive part of watching the small clip, the narrow view. And that's something that you should be thinking about yourself when you're umpiring on the pitch is, am I giving myself a broad enough view? Could I have missed something because I'm looking too narrowly at a situation and I haven't seen the entire context of the play? Context is everything. What about in skill and control of the shot? Does that come into play? It's not a wild hit, but a place drag. That's part of it too. That's part of it too. I wouldn't say it's a well-controlled drag. I mean, Bone's throwing himself forward as he's taking the shot. He's trying to get it. He's trying to get it off. He kind of slips at the same time. So there you go. Hi, you. You know what we're talking about. But restart with a bully. You disconnect your buzzer. And the ball. Yes. Thank you very much. This is where the legitimate evasive action occurs. Thank you all for going into the rule book. And here it is, 9-8. Okay. Legitimate evasive action by opponents. Okay, is right there. I like the delay, the latency of writing on this. And then I look up and I'm like, look, it's just appeared on the screen. Okay. The slow-mo replay makes it harder. It looks like the defender has way more time than he actually has. Absolutely. Great point. This catches us up all the time, and it catches me up all the time when I'm watching these things. I really try when I'm watching live to formulate some opinion in my mind while still keeping it open, understanding that whatever that first view we have is not the view that the umpire has. It's very different. Our angles are bad, worse, whatever. Jolt, you voted FHD, but shame that an excellent shot didn't count. Yeah. Oh, it's 6.4. So you think it's a PC? It's not the only factor, Graham, though. Okay, it's one of the things that you take into account. Okay, it's definitely on target, yes, but it's not the only factor that you take into account. Okay. And it's specific to causing danger from play. We consider danger all the time. Yes. Yeah, we absolutely do. Okay, I'm getting ready to end this poll. So I hope you've all got your votes in. End poll, 2 minutes. So what did we do with this one? Okay, 59% of you wanted the free hit defense, 39% penalty corner, 3% penalty stroke. Funny, because I thought the last one was a lot more conclusive than this one. I still agree that this is a free hit for the defense, and it's because of how the shot goes through traffic and how it hits a defender who is, I mean, you can argue that because of where they are, you should be expecting a shot, but he clearly is not. He's run after his defender. The ball's careened off. Suddenly it's popped into Boone's space and Tom Bone's space, and he's taken, you know, a quick, very skillful off balance shot, and he just wasn't in a position to be expected to play it. So for me, I like the free hit defense. Goddard agrees. And G-Money, you're going to add to Stain's point. Did the defender step on the line of goal intentionally to draw the free out? You don't see it often, but it could have defend. Yes. And yes, I mean, it's not that they step in there intentionally to draw the danger call. They step in there because they really think they can stop the shot. And they're there trying to make it, they're there trying to occupy space so that an attacker will go for a different angle. So they occupy a space, goalkeeper occupies a space, and then, oh, I only have the left side of the goal to shoot at. That, I think, is much more what a defender is trying to do. I don't think they're trying to be like, boy, I really hope this ball hits me so it gets called for danger. I don't think that's the level of, you know, that's the cynicism that we should be necessarily looking for here. So there you go. It's 6.4 meters. Yes. Thanks, Chad. I'm glad I got straightened out with that. I've been doing indoor and getting confused with the 9 meters and the 7 meters for the indoor. So it is a 7 meter penalty stroke spot. And I just finished rewriting the exam last night for my course. So yeah, I'm just all confused. I appreciate that correction there. At that skill level, he's taking advantage of LA rules. He has the ability to play the ball. I really don't think so. I really don't think so. Not here. If he's got a chance at that ball, he's going to try to stop it. I mean, these are finely tuned, highly skilled athletes who really have a lot of confidence in their abilities. I just don't see him like turning away because, oh, I'm going to milk this. Okay. That's how I see it. All right. Last one on this. Oh, of course, I have to go to an England game, don't I?
Martin, that's my video. For me, the shot on goal was dangerous, but can you please check if it was because it was a penalty stroke situation for me. So can you check it, please?
Okay, we'll check for the danger.
Thank you.
Potential penalty stroke.
Yep. I'm not sure. Good save. Back it comes. And that thing comes off the body. That's a penalty stroke, isn't it?
It's because it's goal-bound ball.
Keeper's behind though, diving. Let's have a look here.
So I think the same pull options that we're looking at there.
Reach with that left kicker. And then he's
Anthony, thank you very much. I agree. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong thing.
Go.
The 5 meter guidance, as Anthony is saying.
I have a decision for you. You should award the penalty stroke.
So, as Anthony's saying here, the 5 meter guidance is, and all of a sudden, I've lost my scene again. It's fine. We're still in this. So if I pull this over here, I'm just going to reconstruct it as we're talking. Because why can't I? Oh. That's why. Okay. So it was a interesting choice. I think Jakub had either way that he could go with this without basically upsetting the apple cart, because it was a dead ball situation either way. Either it was a penalty stroke or it was a free hit for the defense. And what's interesting again is that we see a couple of angles on this. SH, you're absolutely right. The go away. They have to step. They cannot interfere with the umpire's decision to take a self-referral or not. And especially in that moment, Jakub had made the decision in favor of England, and then he takes a self-referral. There is nothing for an English player to come and talk about. Just absolutely nothing. So, you missed the last quarter of the game. Yeah, you missed kind of like, yeah, a lot. Godders, your first reaction was penalty stroke, and you still think it was, and it's a penalty stroke for Raju. So the reason I bring this up is that when I saw this initially, and I'm going to see if I can freeze it right at this moment. This is going to be very difficult for me to do because I don't have fine control over this. And the frame rates are terrible. Okay. And what I'm trying to show, okay, is the possibility, and when I run it back and without having very good frame rates, what I was thinking about, and let's see if I've got my overlay going here, camera D. Okay. Is that what I was looking at, and I'm not going to get very precise here, is the shot looks like it comes, don't give me two lines here. The shot looks like it comes this way and then deflects off the player's glove into their body. So I think my overlay is a little messed up here. So let's just see if I can get this fixed. There. So it looked to me as I was watching it live that the ball was actually going this way, hits the glove, which is legal, but then deflects into the player's body, which then stops it. So there was the possibility of this actually being one of those wide shots. The problem is that the shot is taken very close to the defender, so we can't actually see the full evolution or the full trajectory of that ball and exactly where it was going. So it's just something that I want you to keep in mind when you're watching yourself on the pitch. The shorter the ball travel is, the less you're going to be able to make a very good determination as to whether that ball is going high, going wide, because it just hasn't drawn a full pathway yet. So you're going to do your best. You have to make a snap judgment, but the close distances are actually much harder to call than the longer distances. It becomes much more obvious. So, yeah. So from Mark McCartney, hi, have you been here before? For you, it was missing the goal. And is this considered dangerous? And that's another issue. So let me let it play a little bit more so you can see it a few more times. and I'll clear my drawing. It was, so this is where we have all of the considerations of a player, the defender being quite close, and then, but I think it hits his glove first and then hits him in the body. So it's basically like a missed reception, but does it hit his glove above the knee, which then should be considered dangerous because the trajectory is above the knee if he's that close, etc., etc., etc. But look at where he's placed himself. Is he marking an attacker? Is he kind of defending the goal? Right? So this is why I want you to all to be very aware of all of the factors. We're not just looking at one thing and saying, well, he's within 5 meters, therefore it's dangerous. No, that's a simplistic view that lacks the nuance of all the things that we know go into what is dangerous and what is not in our game. So you're considering that. You're also considering where the other players are, whether that shot's coming through traffic or not. You're also considering where he's placed himself vis-a-vis other players. Okay, so he was running in towards the goal. I think he was looking to sort of protect the goal from what could have been Velen's shot there, and then the ball pops out, and then he's running in the way. Whether that ball was going wide or not, I don't know. I don't think it you know, now that I look at it, but my first instinct was, oh, I think that's going wide. So I can understand that. For Dane, the defender has moved into the line of shot, penalty stroke. And that is pretty fair. Godders, none of your teams this week can have a referral either, but they still try it. Yeah, it's shocking, isn't it? And for Kev, same thing. Defender stepped into the line of the goal. Okay, I'm going to 2-minute warning this one. Hope you all have your votes in. To see what you say. And here we go. 77% of you are looking for the... Oh, of course, my screens are all messed up here. 77% of you are looking for the penalty stroke and 19% free hit defense. And I mean, fair in any way. As long as you step through all those things, because we don't have video referral at home, we're gonna make our decision, and then this is a really good time to initiate a conversation with your colleague as the controlling umpire. Make your decision, say, hey, everybody, settle down. I'm gonna go talk to my colleague and I'm gonna get their view. Okay? They probably could tell you over the radio quite quickly, but I think especially if you're getting closer to the end of the game, it's a big call, that sort of thing. It's a great time to go talk to them and find out and just have that clear conversation that you know, all right, we've got this under control. And it gives the players time to settle down. It gives you a reason to move away from them and stop their conversation coming towards you. So I like that at all. Great teamwork from Jakub and Tomax. Who's Tomax? You wouldn't have been able to see the line of the shot, nor the defender step into the line of the shot from that one. Yeah, and I mean, Jakub just made his call. I don't know if he got anything from the support, but Marcin, you know, Marcin helped him out on the referral, and that's a really smart time to take that referral. So I like that a lot. So there you go. 3 plays where we could explore the various things about dangerous shots on goal. I hope that was helpful. How we doing for time, as always? I am washed out tonight, guys. Sorry, but I thought it was going to be darker. It's not. Aerial interceptions again! Yay! We did this last week. We could be doing this every week. Every freaking week. I'm pretty sure. Go ahead and have a look at this.
Argentina saying they were like a penalty corner, not a stroke.
I will check it.
Yeah.
Well, the ball lifted it deep into the circle. Santiago comes out. On that ball, is there a contact
Can we
on
get
the player?
something from the side, please?
it's such a grey area, this, isn't it? It's really, it's an area of the game that is involved.
It might be a grey area, but that, yeah. Okay, so here's another poll.
Penalty corner.
Is this a penalty stroke, a penalty corner, or a free hit for the defense? I'm not the boss of you.
Yeah, for me, they're crazy though, isn't it? Because you can just aerial it like this from one end of the pitch to the other now. Martin Brissac with the ball forward. The French forward is definitely underneath it. That's number 11, who's Charles Masson. And then actually, Santiago comes shot.
Sam already agrees with the penalty stroke. I like that. You're almost as decisive as Raps was here in getting to his decision very, very quickly. Now, there was a lot of extra conversation that I cut out from the clip that you didn't hear between Michael and I believe it was Cedric. It could have been Jagbeer. I'm not always great at distinguishing the voices. And they were saying things like, oh, well, he's made contact with a player. That's why it's a penalty stroke. Otherwise, it would have been a penalty corner. That's not it. That's not it. We're awarding not for how dangerous or physical it was, but the penalty stroke is being awarded for the intentionality or the recklessness as to whether that maneuver would break down the play. And I mean, for me, I don't think there's any question that the French attacker is the initial receiver here. And if the goalkeeper, Santiago here, is going to try an interception, then what he needs to do is he needs to be able to get out in front of that player because the ball is coming straight towards them, okay? Straight over top. Santiago is going to have to get around that player and get far enough ahead that he's no longer within playing distance and making that interception attempt dangerous. And the question before you is, did he still make that interception attempt dangerous? So they talked about this on the De Belgique podcast. What do they call it? The World, the Hockey PC, hockey podcast. And they were mystified at this decision, and I'm mystified at their mystification. Like, honestly, this is an excellent, quick, an accurate decision in my books. And therefore, I'm going to call the 2-minute warning right now. I hope you've all voted. And oh, good. I see a nice big 91% here, which is terrific. So as soon as I can get that up on the screen for you, I will. 91% of you agree that this is a penalty stroke for the breakdown in play. Penalty corner for 8% of you, and none of you think it's a free hit for the defense. So that's good, because that means that you're all smarter than the people on De Belgique. I'm just kidding. I think some of them understood that it was they understood that it was a foul against Santiago, but didn't think it was intentional. And we have to figure out how to get this message out and how to educate all the players. Toby Walter is, you know, ex-German international of incredible experience and an incredible career and an incredible club goalkeeper in top European clubs, and he doesn't understand this rule, and I don't know what to do about it other than I've been booked on the hockey site. Ernst Bart is a friend of mine, and he's going to call it a masterclass, but I think it should just be called a workshop, because I like to workshop concepts with people. And I'm going to work with hopefully a couple players and maybe a coach and go through the aerial rule and try to, you know, help explore, like, is this a problem with vocabulary? Is it a problem with player understanding of what the impact of the fouls that they're taking have on the game? I don't know. Like, we're going to try to figure it out, because I think we can do a lot of quick work here. I've noticed that it's gotten better in this World Cup as the matches have gone on, but there's still some big discrepancies. So there you go. G Money agrees with Kevo, and And I guess Raju, so this is what I really want to get past. I really want to get this nailed down. Is that goalkeeper has every view of this situation. They know exactly where the ball is coming from. I've just ruined my focus because I keep flapping my hands. They know, they can see the ball. They can see the attacker in front of them. They know what they're doing. And they know what, they should know what they have to do in order to make a clean, safe interception. And he's in control of his body. So he has done all the things that will lead to a conclusion that he's been reckless as to whether he's broken down the play. That needs to be a penalty stroke. Every day, all day, twice on Sundays, as my friend Michelle Lawrence would say. Someday she's going to watch this. She's going to be like, cock heels. She took my line. There you go. Hi, Sean Cooper. You'd be considering a card too. Yeah. And again, big penalty. Big penalty on its own. So the first time it happens, especially because it's a goalkeeper, and especially because there wasn't an extra physical element. Yeah, I touched them, but that's, you know, they're not bothered with that level of contact at this level. I think a penalty stroke is definitely enough in that situation. Okay. New poll, green, yellow, no card. Oh, I just told you. I'm just kidding. You might disagree, but you guys can argue that amongst yourselves. Goalkeepers need to mark high attacker like they do in indoor. Then they would get the free hit. Yeah. And I think, like, I'm not a player expert, so I'm not going to pretend that this is a show where I can critique the coaching and the defending and all those things. Because, yeah, I'm a coach, but I'm not at that level. So I'm not here to drag. I think what I've noticed is that teams are starting to jump to a man-to-man in certain situations and in a specific marking, so not behind the player, but beside, more often as this tournament's been going on. Maybe I'm on drugs. I don't know. If the goalkeeper was stationary in the closest landing point, would it be a free hit defense? Yes. And what that would mean there, Dane, is that the goalkeeper would be considered the initial receiver. And if there are two players, if they're closer to being the initial receiver, then definitely it's their ball. If there's two players and you can't distinguish who the initial receiver is, then that is a dangerous ball and should be called as a free hit to the defense there. So there we go. Sorry. Here's our next example.
Yet to affect Christopher Stadler, who remains in goal for them. Penalty corner goes Germany's way. They're sixth of the match so far.
Doesn't matter.
Charlie not happy about that.
Breaking down, and therefore it's a penalty corner.
He ran towards the ball and he stopped.
No card on that last one for Anthony Goggin.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't have thought he was 5 meters away.
Can I call you Ant?
Not in the line. Look, a long way away, and he stops.
Samus expects a penalty stroke.
And really, it's just
Okay, so what would you call in this situation? Would you think this is a penalty corner, a penalty corner and a card, a free hit for the defense, a play on? I can't remember what options I may have set out on this one. My Nugan might be in the way of this, so let me move it. So we're looking at a situation where the German attacker is the initial receiver of this ball. They are in a receiving position somewhere in the landing or the receiving area. I don't like to call it a landing area because landing assumes that the ball's going to touch the ground, and it's kind of not. And there could be, you know, that's the landing area there. And some players mistakenly believe that an aerial is over as soon as it bounces. Other players think that the aerial isn't over until the ball is completely on the ground. Neither of those things are true. The aerial is over when it's over, when it's safe for the players to contest it as though it's just any regular ball. So I don't like to talk about landing area. I like to talk about the receiving area, but the German attacker can be considered the initial receiver in this. So the question is whether the French defender is legitimately attempting an interception. If they are doing so, are they 5 meters away? If they are not 5 meters away, are they outside of playing distance and not causing danger to the initial receiver? And if they are not doing that, then what is our decision? Okay, so that's the step-by-step that we're going through. Now, this is a really interesting question. G Money. Does the rule change if the attacker fails to trap it? And what we have to consider is if there was an infringement by the defender in this case and the attacker fails to trap it, that's precisely the disadvantage that we're looking to penalize, or that we should be penalizing, right? The scales of justice have been disrupted and we need to reset them to where they are. And then you get into the situation where here the defender sort of attempted an interception, but then sort of pulled away. So you could consider that a missed interception. And then what responsibility can we put on that interceptor after they have failed to intercept? Because they are within 5 meters. And I don't think you can have it both ways. I don't think you can say it's safe or legal for an interceptor to try to intercept the ball, but if they fail, that means they're infringing 5 meters. That seems like that's a gotcha. That's a complete trap, and that can't be the intention of the rule. Let's see. For Raju, the initial receiver has not controlled the ball. It could be a free hit. Could be a free hit outside because, Raju, you're thinking that this isn't an intentional breach. Does this call have some greater context within the game? It seems really harsh. So where are we in the game at this point? I mean, every decision has context in terms of the other decisions that have been made. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull this away. If I go back to the back. Okay, so we're 5 minutes into the third quarter. I mean, the call has context just in terms of the entire tournament, that these calls have been going back and forth. And I think it's a fair comment that the umpires haven't been entirely consistent with this, and there have been mistakes made in these decisions. Pardon me, at times. I think the umpires have a better handle on what is and is not a legal interception attempt than the players do. But as soon as they make 1 or 2 mistakes, then it sends the wrong messages to the players. So it's a lot harder to educate. At the same time, friends, let's remember that this rule just came into force January 1, 2023. And that was a decision that the FH made. They're like, yeah, let's change this right before the World Cup. That sounds like a great idea. And yes, many jurisdictions were playing it from September and all that kind of stuff. But it's like right before. So how many reps are all of these top umpires going to get making this decision beforehand? It's not like they've had 8 years. Okay? So we have to take all of these things into context. The players are learning the rule. The umpires are learning the rule. The coaches are learning the rule, because I think the coaches are starting to adjust how they are coaching their defenses because of this rule. So there you go. Sean, have you... You think the defender stops to allow the attacker to receive the ball, but the attacker misses the ball, so it should be a 15-meter restart. Hi. We use the correct terminology here. The 5 meters is questionable for Sebastian in this case, but the reasoning is that France is infringing then PC. But if they're allowed to try to intercept within 5 meters, Sebastian, and they go to try to intercept and then they say, oh, but I'm not going to make it, do we then automatically penalize them because they're within 5 meters? I think that's gotcha. I think you guys know what I think of this one. It seems to you, Urian, that the mishandling by the initial receiver was not caused by the closeness of the interceptor. I think it was from the bounce of the turf. And I mean, the turf of Bhubaneswar is infamous for being difficult to, it's apparently, I've heard, it's a hard turf. Doesn't feel like a PC, but sorry, what was the rest of that? But not sure what the standard interpretation is. Well, the standard interpretation should be the correct interpretation, which is if the player was being reckless as to whether they were going to break down the play, I don't see that as being reckless. Dane, you can't see how the attacker was disadvantaged. If he controls it, the defender's out of position. Free run into the D. Yeah, there's that. Hi, Luke. Glad you're here. For you, the defender wasn't within playing distance and not causing any danger, so just play on. I think... Yeah, I think that that's true, that he might have been within the 5 meters, but not within playing distance. Hi, Tricky. The only way you can see is if it causes danger or is within playing distance. You see no grounds for a foul, so play on. Attacker even moves off expecting a... Yeah, I mean, the attacker's body language on that one is there. So, okay, I'm gonna 2-minute warning this stuff. Holy smokes, I am behind. I just really enjoy listening to everything that y'all have to contribute. So I don't like to bump that. I don't like to preempt. All your opinions really matter to me. And sorry, I'm still waiting for this screenshot. I think this is it. No, that can't be it. That can't be it. That can't be it. Play on 74 said, oh, it's this one. Okay, sorry. So 75% of you think it's a play on, and a penalty corner card for 17% of you, and a free hit for defense for 6%. Ah, it's a big swing for the corner in the card, but okay. Thank you for all 29 of you who voted. But I think for me, what we've noticed is that the 5 meters is not applied as strictly as you would see it in contexts like free hits being taken, because there's so much more fluidity in this situation than there is in the stationary set play of a free hit. It's not necessarily as much of a disadvantage when it's another meter closer and things like that. Sometimes it's just more variable than that. And I think what you saw in this situation was the thought of attempting to intercept, changing one's mind, but not disadvantaging the attacker for being within that 5 meters, because the interception could have been attempted and he actually just thought better of trying to intercept. So it did seem very gotcha to me. And 75% of you agree. Yeah, you don't necessarily see the attempt to intercept Sebastian. Why can't I put that on the screen? But it's but you know why he's going. You know why he's closing, and he's closing in front. He's not running at the player. He's starting to close to the ball because of the bounce, but everything kind of gets, you know, obviously it's a tough ball because if it wasn't, the attacker would have gotten it. So there's that. Okay. Oh, look, it's England, Germany again.
With a chance now, shot needs to go.
We don't even need a poll for this one, Kat. But I did want to show it.
Okay.
Okay. Jakub would not be a good poker player. I'm just gonna say it. Jakub, if you're watching, you're probably pretty shit at poker.
Cedric, would you have rolled the
It's on his face.
on the stroke of
I just wanted to run this one through just to show, again, another sort of aspect. And you can see here that there is control, and but it's fluid, right? The ball moves a little bit on the reception. The German player kind of moves forward, and then he pulls back, and then he moves forward again. It's not super static. And if you drew out 5 meters from there, is there the potential that he is infringing? Yes. Is that going to be a disadvantage enough for a penalty corner here? No. Especially because the notion of control at this level of play is so much more fluid. Again, I'm going to overuse that word. Somebody find me a synonym for that. Than what it is at other levels, because it does not have to be controlled on the ground. Not at this level. Players are controlling it in order to take a shot from a half volley. Players are able to control by keeping it on their stick and executing a 3D skill and dribbling around somebody, doing a hurley carry. Okay, so they don't need the ball to be on the ground in order to control it. Let's see. Sam here, I think you're talking about the last one. The offense is closing down and goes into the 5 meter space. It's actually the defender, but that's okay. Yeah, I think you're missing a few steps in your argument there, Sam, and I know what you're trying to get at, but I think I think it's a little harsh to interpret that movement there as being all intentional there. And the attacker isn't disadvantaged, is Mike is stepping in, so thanks for that. It's good to explore it, though, and I don't want to discourage you from expressing and for thinking it through and getting it out there. And then, because we do this by discussion, we do this by consensus. That being said, the consensus on this one may be that it was a ludicrous referral. Versatile, dynamic. That's the one. Thank you, Luke. Flexible? Maybe. I like dynamic, though. I think that was the one. Yeah, the German does do quite a bit. Well, I mean, there is time to score. Just, you know, you're not going to have a great attempt at, you know, that angle. But there you go. And for Raju, the defender is not interfering. Okay, awesome. I'm sure we're going to have more aerial interceptions to look at for the final days, but hopefully things are going to continue to improve. They're going to continue to improve. Okay, let's get on to this. I've got 15 minutes. This might end up being the last one, but I wanted to illustrate some concepts around player management. So I'm going to more run through this. This isn't for polls. And I wanted to explore Martin Madden's techniques in this particular Spain-Australia game. Okay, so there's an aerial ball that gets thrown, and I don't know if you could hear any of that. It probably wasn't loud enough. So the aerial ball goes, the Spanish player feels that he wasn't given the 5 meters control and on the ground, yells, and Martin brings him in and says, "This stops now." Okay? And everybody knows Martin's a cop. He's very accustomed to dealing with much rougher customers than anybody's ever going to find on a hockey pitch. But when he was on Umpire at Home, and I'll make sure that there's a link in the tags, the holder thingies, whatever, and in the resources as well for this episode, he's very well aware of the need to vary his presentation. He's able to pull this out, this very stern approach. But what you miss, that you often don't see, and we're only lucky to see glimpses of it on television, is when he brings out the smile. And he did that in this game. Despite the fact that the next time he has an intervention with a player, it looks like this.
Craig felt he had the space first, and we were treating Vizcaino, and Hayward is going to be spoken to.
Now Scotsman again.
So I don't know if you could make it all out, but he said, I'm not having it. And you can surmise from the camera angle and how they moved is that both of them were moving towards each other. Because he says, you're coming here. And Hayward is like, makes the mistake of actually walking that fast up to him. And he's very aggressive here. Very aggressive. I'm not having it. And you know that the reason that Hayward is yelling is because the free hit went against his team who was attacking and going into the other end. And Hayward would have been turning around saying, yeah, that's what you should have been calling early in the game. Or something. Right? And turning around and giving those gears. And I had some comments come through from people saying, you know, this isn't right. This isn't good. You shouldn't yell at players and all that kind of stuff. Not always. Not frequently. But as I said, in this same game, there were moments that Martin could take where he could be friendly with the players. He can show his different faces. But the yell that Hayward let out in that moment, you can hear it very clearly on the broadcast. It is extraordinary, and it's those extraordinary moments that we as umpires need to take in order to talk. Even later, same game, Australia has now come from behind and gone up, and now it's Spain's turn again to be upset, and he's just like, that's it, we're done. Trying to keep the players from making those shouting, demonstrative, game integrity destroying demonstrations. You know that Martin isn't bothered about this, but it's about how it impacts the game. And so we're done. We're done. It's over. And he's able to again diffuse that situation. But his style of management is very confident. It's very approaching. He does tend to touch the players, and that is not unintentional. He knows very well what he's doing there. And that is to bridge the gap and also to say, I'm not scared of you. I don't have to be like this because I'm worried you're going to touch me. He's like, yeah, hi. Right? Not everybody can get away with that. Probably very few of us can get away with that. But when I was out there doing tough matches and occasionally doing men's matches, I would often use a little hand. Very cheekily. But if I was talking to a player, I might come alongside them and put my hand on their arm or maybe on their back in order to show them how close we were, how close I was, and that I was not intimidated. And it's a pattern interrupt that changes the distance and the feeling between the two people. Okay, not something to overuse and something that can, you know, it's not easy. It's not an easy skill, but it's one that Martin uses very well. I'm just going to look at some of your comments here before I move on. Stop it. Okay. Yeah. Imagine if they got a PC out of that. Nobody's doing except you. Yeah, because Hayward's kind of like, what about the other guy? And he's like, no, that was you. I love that. Yeah, right? And G-Money, I'm not a sports ball person. That's what I call it. Because I'm that little of a person in that. I'm Canadian, okay. But even I know, I read his book. Not extremely well translated, but I read the book. I know what impact he had on the sport as an official. And the fact that he was brought back out of retirement because they needed him on the pitch because of just how good he was, and he could still promote more of that control in the game that they so badly needed. So there you go. Mark's saying that's very useful. And yes, absolutely, Raju, this is a really good point. Every umpire has their own style of maintaining discipline on the ground. So I'm going to go through another couple examples here from a different game. Oh my God, it's England-Germany. I can't help it. So this is in quarter 2. And Captain America, Steve Rogers calls time very quickly in this moment because he knows he wants to settle this down because there was some to do in the circle. Now, there's a difference in languaging here between what Martin Madden says, which is stop. Stop that behavior. Stop that. That thing you did, enough, it stops. The words that Steve uses, and this is not shade, okay? Because this is really hard stuff. This is not shade, but I want this to be useful and helpful for us. Is he says, just chill, just relax. So what he's asking for is a change of emotion in the players. And it doesn't really pay off. This happens later in the game. This was an off-the-ball incident where Ruhr may have struck Sanford. Surprise, surprise. He's in the middle of things.
Yeah, I was watching the ball, my colleague as well. Yeah, I got it. I understand. You need a physio. Yeah, so...
Well, what's he done here, or has he done it? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It's impossible for the umpires, and I think.
Okay, you can hear them saying we can't see, we can't see everything. We didn't see it. They're getting together.
Yes, I think it goes back into the International Federation, and then they come back with a decision. And
Clever decision by the directors to mute them in this moment.
The Pro League or something like that.
It's called both the captains.
Okay.
Another meeting with the captains.
So we just want you to help us at the moment. Nothing off ball. You and you. No talking. We're gonna keep an eye on that, right? Fine, good. We will start with the bully. Yeah, they had a ball. You will play the ball to them, right? Good. It's a bully. You play the ball to them.
You guys get the ball. It is, bro. It is. It's a joke. What he said. Use it. You've got 20 minutes to play. Exactly. He'll give you the ball back. Okay.
So there's a contrast there between how Jakub and Steve talk to the players. And this is a really rare privilege that we have here to listen to umpires, especially at this level, talking to players on the pitch. So it's a privilege, and we're taking it as such, as a learning opportunity. So Jakub is very clear. You don't do this. I need your help. No talking, no pushing, that sort of thing. And then when there's that little disagreement about the bully, and Steve says, just relax, just chill, Grambush turns back and says, there's 20 minutes left in this game. Don't tell me to relax. And I think that's justified. We have to be very careful about telling the players how they should feel. And I don't mean to say in this moment, like, I got to be very careful how I phrase this, because I'm not saying that the players are children, but it's like when you're parenting and you respect the kids that you're dealing with, and you want them to behave with maturity and to take ownership and be accountable and all that sort of thing. You don't tell them how they're feeling, because that's not where you should be in that moment. Instead, it's about, this is what I need from you. This is what I expect. These are the behaviors you're going to show me. I understand how you feel in this moment. You acknowledge, you empathize, but this is what is required now. And that way, you don't give the players something to argue about. They can't argue about not talking or not pushing each other or not breaking down the play or whatever it is, or not committing illegal substitutions. Whatever you're trying to get from them, they can't turn around and say, how dare you ask for that? But they can say, hey, we're in this game and we're in it to win. And if we're competitive, we're intense, and we're going after this. So don't tell me to relax, because I'm not relaxing. So take that on as something that you can incorporate in your management style, and think of phrases that fit with your personality and your methodology. How can I say this in a way that makes sense? And you're going to practice in games, and sometimes it's going to work awesome, and then sometimes it's not. You have to learn through experience. Okay, but practice the phrases, try them out in your head, try them out with your friends. I don't know, like go out to the pub and be like, okay, somebody yell at me right now, and then I'm going to give you something back, and you tell me if you think it's convincing or not. I don't know. But it's important to do visualization. It's important to practice. It's important to try things out off the pitch as well as on, in order to develop that aspect of your management style. I'm going to look at a couple of your comments before we move along. And Steve, you don't recommend shouting generally, as it can increase temperature. Absolutely. Everyone is different and must read the room. And I think that comes from also Martin's understandable earned reputation. You know, he did the EHL final last year. I mean, for me, he's been one of the top umpires on the men's side of the game for the last 3-4 years. He's earned that with the players, and everybody knows who he is. You know, it's not like he's rocked up on the scene and he's a bit unknown. And that's the point that you need to build to in your own career, in your own practice. Yeah. And I mean, he knows that he's being a little pest. And I would try that on too. Yeah. So that whole thing with Roar, I do have what the TV showed on the replay. I think I managed to sneak that scene in. Let me just see if I can find it now. This was part of what I was trying to do while it was late. Where the heck are my scenes? Is this 3? This is 3. Okay, this might be it.
So much.
Yes.
Right corner of the frame behind. Well, there was a bunch.
So we obviously don't have a great view, and I don't really know. You kind of see a stick, you kind of see a shove, you kind of see, you know, the two of them tussling beforehand, and then, you know, I'm pretty sure that the sticks are involved, but the net's in the way. You don't really know. Will the tournament director have access to better footage than this? Absolutely. Oops. Will the tournament director... I mean, Rour had already booked himself into a meeting because he had already taken his second yellow card in the tournament. So he was already going to be going to see the tournament director for a little chat about code of conduct violations. And will the tournament director do anything in this moment? I would like to say yes. However, I think what we've seen in the past has been a bit disappointing. It's a huge call to have to make. Germany moving into the semifinal and missing Rour is a big loss. Should he be suspended? If what we think happened in that moment actually happened, yes. Absolutely, he should be suspended. Is it going to happen? I don't think it will, to be honest. And that's just the way international hockey goes. Dawn, are you late? Just a little bit. Hi, Cedric. Oops. That's not the button I wanted to press. Hi. Welcome. Good to have you. Yeah, and it is well controlled. These are fine nuances that I'm pointing out because this is such a great learning opportunity for us. This would be the same as being able to go to the pitch and have a radio. So the umpires might be on radios. Maybe there's a reserve umpire also on a radio, but you as an umpire coach or an observer or part of a development group can listen in on what's being said during the match. That's an exercise I do very regularly here and at, you know, my surrounds as soon as I can do it. I have a set of 5 Xewe radios. Hi, Xewe. Sponsor me. And I will put a radio and I will have like multi-leads off it, and people can listen in the right circumstances to what the umpires are saying, not be able to talk back, obviously, so that they can learn from what they're hearing. And it's very, very good for development. And you think the number of incidents Rour has been involved in would be actively tracked by the tournament? I would think so. And time zones. Okay. Oh, let's see. I'm looking at the whole thing. Let's skip the sliding players because it's not crucial, but this was a controversial call. At least if you were Australian or you were Dr. Charlesworth. So goal scored by Australia and Spain referred.
Closing the game down. There's the play by Ogilvy.
So there's nothing wrong there.
Knocks it forward. Did very well to break there.
Even though there's a hand that goes up.
Towards the goal.
Ephraim shoots. Save. It's this moment here.
Good play by Wetton. And Craig finishes.
As Bhubaneswar goes for the ball there.
Wetton gets it cleanly. Goal.
Okay, let's have another look at this angle.
Always Wetton's ball.
And you can go ahead and vote. Goal
He gets stick checked.
or free hit defense. If Kat, you want to start the stream.
Martin, I have a decision for you. There's a foul by the Australian attacker on the defender, so we should award a free hit. And Spain keeps the referral.
Okay. So before that goes to replay, I just want to go back and deal with Sean's comment here because this is really important for people to understand. I'm out of focus. Here are the rules for video review. Video review can only be conducted for incidents that occur within the 23-meter area that relate to the scoring of a goal, a penalty stroke decision, or a penalty corner decision if it's a team referral. If it's an umpire self-referral, the incident must be inside the 23-meter area, leading to either a penalty stroke or a goal decision. That's it. Okay? There is no remit in the video regulations that allow umpires to look at footage that does not refer to a goal or a penalty stroke decision. And the ball was nowhere near the area. So that is off-ball misconduct. There are no penalties in the form of team penalties that can be awarded anywhere in the scope of the rules of hockey. That cannot be referred. People, we have to learn this.
Here's what I found.
Thanks, Siri. Siri wants to tell you all about it too. So now that we have that straight, there have been many calls for the ability for umpires to be able to review misconduct off the ball. As it stands right now, that is not in the video regulations. Could that be changed in the future? It could be. What seems to happen is that instead things get changed about the wearing of gloves or knee pads after penalty corners have been played or not, and stupid little minute portions of the game that really don't bear on anything and not on stuff like that, and that drives me up the wall. But there's a rant of the week for you. And there's the sound effect light. Thanks, Stream Deck. You're the best. Okay, so hopefully that clears it up. Let's go back to the replay of what we're supposed to be talking about. Oh, Sebastian wants the sliding players. I'll add it to next week's show, okay? I promise. Why is there no foul play review like in rugby? I don't know what the rugby rule is. I don't know. But what I do know is that we've been very careful about how video review has been employed. And considering how much happens, I can understand the reluctance to have had this in the regulations right from the start. The time that it would take to find incidents, the poor level of technology that we're sometimes dealing with, even at these top tournaments, it's really not good. Mark. Free hit defense for Mark. William, free hit defense all day for you. Stick interference for you, says Sean Cooper. Raju, can all of you just call up Rick Charlesworth and tell him? Because he really did believe, sorry, this is wrong. Sorry, this is just wrong. Luke, you think the Spanish defender sticks lifted up by the Australian attackers? Free hit defense for the interference. It's very subtle. It's not a big swinging back of the stick. But the Spanish player has his stick going towards the ball, and even though the Australian player touches it, he doesn't do so without making, like, he only touches the ball because he makes contact with the Australian player's stick. Or sorry, the Spanish player's stick. Ben, your gut says they're both making a play for the ball. Your doubt arises whether or not you say the Spaniard has possession, therefore a stick tackle by Australia. Yeah, and depending on how you kind of shape those words, I think you get to where we are. Don, it's a hard one. On one hand, the stick interference obstruction, but gut says these are two players trying to go for a ball simultaneously, which is only natural. Yeah, there's something natural about that, but this is, I think, right there is where his stick gets lifted, and that allows the Australian the contact. It happens so quickly. But that's what slow motion is there for, and that still is a disadvantage, I think. I'm so glad you guys found friends. Yay. 9-12 third bullet for you. All right, I'll be your Huckleberry. 9-12. Third bullet. Shield the ball from a legitimate tackle. Physically interfere. It's for me. It's the physically interfere with the stick or body of an opponent. That's the obstruction, or you can call it stick interference, which is like 9-2. That a lot of people forget. Oh no, sorry, 9-3. Can't interfere with other players in the sticks or clothing, but not really. It's more obstruction. Hi, Purdy. Spanish player didn't have clear possession at that point, so no? Question mark? One could equally argue who's using a stick to obstruct the striker if you wanted to be pedantic. No, because he's in the process of reaching for the ball, and he would have reached the ball but for the Australian stick coming and lifting. That's what we're seeing here. That's what we're seeing. So here it comes. He's about to get, and his stick gets moved. I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. Didn't think we were getting our rant in this week. Okay. Oh, Kev. Just ask me about ladies' fit shirts. Mark, the stick slid underneath, went for ball, denied legitimate access to the ball by holding his stick. He moved his stick out of the way. It's subtle at this angle, but it moved it back. Moved it back. Yeah. I don't know. That's probably a geographical joke. I don't know. You can argue the Spanish player is blocking the path to the ball for the Australian player by putting a stick in the way, so the Australian has to make stick contact. You can argue that, but I think you're wrong. Okay, let's end this poll. Let's end this poll and end this show. Don't worry, Sebastian. We will do sliding players later. 63% of you, once I'm able to put it up on the screen, 63% of you agree with the video referral. Marcin popped up there that it's a free hit for the defense, and 36% of you thought it was a good goal. So that's fair. It's a tough one. It's a tough call. But that was precisely what Spain asked for. They said his stick got lifted. So when the players are that precise and what they're asking for, you kind of think, huh, yeah. And it's that player's sense of what's fair and what should be happening in the game that really informs you. So yeah, for me, that's stick interference. And it's just, I know it happens a lot in the game. I think it's important for us to see and detect it, because when it doesn't get detected and it happens a little bit more regularly or happens on important plays, you see players reacting very badly to getting their sticks caught, and then you start seeing the sticks flying, and then you get cuts and sticks in faces and teeth and all those sort of things. We do not want that. That is why the rule is in place, because if you start messing with your opponent's sticks, you start getting into dangerous situations. So that's the intention of the rule. So there you go. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even waiting for these other 20 seconds. I think we did a great job summing it up in 1:40. So yes, if you wouldn't mind, if you got value out of today, please do what Rachel says. I would do what Rachel says. I'm just saying. She's not to be messed with. And I look forward to seeing you back next week. We are going to wrap up all the action because the finals for the Men's Hockey World Cup go on Sunday. We'll do the wrap-up show on Wednesday, and then 2 days later, 3 days later-ish, 2.5, we start the Indoor World Cup. Yes, that is a look of complete shock on my face. I'm thinking that I might just start bumping up to being nocturnal at that point. The Indoor World Cup being held in South Africa starting on February 4th, February 6th? 4th. Goes for 6 days. Men's and women's in South Africa. I'm telling you, I know you might be saying, Keely, I don't do indoor. There's no indoor in my area. Trust, if you love this sport, you're going to love the Indoor World Cup. It is amazeballs. It is so fast. It is so exciting. And you will learn things about umpiring that you can't learn from the outdoor games. So please give it a shot and watch some of the matches. I'm going to be watching a lot of them, if not all of them, but I might skip a few just so I can stay healthy and sane. But this is what we do. If you are part of the FHU third team, FHU 3T, if you are in the yellow camp, I'll be holding watch parties as we've been doing throughout the Men's World Cup and discussing the matches together. So that's why Simon Dolby signed up, as I announced earlier in the show. He signed up because he's like, yo, I get to hang out with my best friends during matches and talk about umpiring concepts and learn as the matches are unfolding from a holistic point of view. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it's all in our Discord server, FHumpires.com/DS. Right there. Oh, I love it when I have good timing for my stings. Okay, let's see what's happening. Oh, February 5th to 11th. It's my birthday on the 5th. I'm just saying. That's why I didn't want to name it the 5th, because I was like, I'm really glad you're here, Sean. I really appreciate your contributions. Thanks for speaking up, and I hope you come back again. You're going to go watch the Argentina-Korea game, Purdy. Yeah, very interesting, and thank you for coming back again. I got into things faster today. I'm getting better. I'm taking your feedback on board. And you hope you don't need to make much use of management this weekend, but now you'll be ready. Excellent. It's that awareness and knowing. There you go. And thank you and Stain and SH and Raju, I'm so glad you came back. Fantastic. You're very welcome. Let's see. I just didn't want to catch everybody's comments. There's the 5th to 12th. There you go. Cedric, you are going to be here. Yes, you are. Let's go. Thank you, Yoop. I'm glad you're around. And it's your mom's birthday at the end of the Interworld Cup. That's fantastic. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your hockey week. Enjoy the matches. Get into the Discord server. Become part of the conversation that we keep on going. We just do not stop. We just keep on going through the World Cup. So thank you for everything and see you soon.